Bonjour Hi, my loves! I hope you're doing well, I hope you're doing fine. So in today's episode, I decided to tell you all of the books that I read in 2024, the ones that I loved, the one where I disliked, and giving y'all my opinions and thoughts. And please do not feel any offense if I dislike a book that you actually have enjoyed. We all have our preferences and there's honestly much bigger things happening in the world. So let's start by saying that this year I've unfortunately just read 5 books. Insane. But if I take a step back and look at my 2023 in terms of books, I read 0 books. So this is actually a 500% augmentation, and we love that. So the first book that I read in 2024 is a book called 40 Things I Want to Tell You by Alice Kuipers. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And let me read you the review that I left on Goodreads because it's quite telling everything that you need to know about how I felt about this book. I bought this book years ago at my local thrift shop, and while I was cleaning my room, I found it again. I thought, why not read it before donating it? To my surprise, I actually enjoyed it. The way the bad boy was described totally reminded me of a hot guy from one of my classes, which made me even more excited to keep reading. But then, I started to feel like the plot was super rushed. Out of nowhere, the good girl was making these ridiculous decisions over a guy she'd only locked eyes with. I get it, I can relate, but when I read, I just want to escape my reality. Even though she kind of reminded me of myself, her choices were way worse, totally irrational, and just not believable based on how we got to know her. Oh, and I almost forgot the worst part, it had my least favorite romance trope, the pregnancy trope. For y'all who want to know why the pregnancy trope is my least favorite book trope, please go watch my video on me rating different book tropes. I don't remember the title, but it's just, you're seeing it right now. Oh, it made me want to throw the book across the room. Honestly, I only got through it by reading it ironically. I give it 2 stars because her bad decisions still got me entertained. This is everything that you need to know about this book. Because the disappointment actually that I felt that this is the first book that I read in 2024 and it had to be my worst fucking book trope, the one that I liked the less, the fucking pregnancy trope. I was so disappointed, and my friend Chloe was laughing at me. She was like, what the like, I was telling her the things that were happening. I'm not going to spoil it. I was telling her all the bad decisions of the girl, and Chloe was like, and I were like laughing because we were like, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? So I give this book 2 stars out of 5. And also the bad boy was like not explored a lot in the sense, well, in the sense of they weren't, the girl was more talking about the bad boy than having interactions with the bad boy, which honestly, same. But like I said, I want to escape my reality. I don't need to live my reality while reading another book. Like there's no point in that. 2 stars out of 5. And the ending was also so disappointing. It's like, oh, don't recommend. Second book that I read in 2024 is called Spin by Katherine McKenzie. I had high hopes for this book after reading the synopsis. It sounded so intriguing, but once the main character went to rehab to spy on the celebrity, it just got so boring. Literally, every day felt like a repeat of the last. Nothing was happening. I couldn't even finish it because it was just that dull. The last time I felt this bored was during my accounting class in my first year of university. I really tried to like it, but I'd make the trip, 3 hours on the metro, round trip, for a class that was as exciting as watching the leaves on a tree move in the wind outside the window. Except there wasn't even any window in my classroom. Why am I so savage writing these fucking Goodreads review? I need to humble myself because that's so mean. What do you mean? Do you think the authors are seeing the review? I hope not. Please tell me not. Because if they do, I will literally like erase every single comment. And I've rated this book 1 star out of 5. It was so boring. Like, like I said in my review, like I really thought it was going to be like, ooh, the journalist is getting herself into rehab to spy on a celebrity that she can then write a whole article about it. Like, oh my god, it's going to be so interesting. But it was so boring. Every day that she was living in this rehab, like they were the same thing, which makes sense in real life, that in rehab you don't have a lot of things to do. So of course that the days are going to repeat themselves. But for it to be that much realistic in this book, at least, it was so boring. Like, please, can you like add some characters, create some friendships, some hatred? I don't know. Like, I've never been less entertained than reading this book. Like, no joke, I do not recommend it at all. Third book that I read is actually It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I rated this book 4 stars out of 5, and for more details I've made a whole YouTube video explaining my thoughts and opinion about the book, about the way that it's written, the characters, the movie. So the video is right here, so go watch this video if you want to know my thoughts and opinions about this book. And of course, because I read It Ends With Us, had to read It Starts With Us. And that part, I didn't talk about it in my It Ends With Us YouTube video because, well, I didn't read It Starts With Us back then. But this book, oh my fucking god. My friend Lily told me like that she didn't really appreciate that book. So I was like, at first I was like, oh my god, like should I even read it? Like I really liked It Ends With Us. I don't want to read a sequel that happens to be disappointing. Like I'm not sure. And I finally did read It Starts With Us, and oh my god, spoiler alert, it was so fucking good. Seeing her dynamic with her, Lily, and Atlas, and seeing like their friendship and relationship and like a slow burn. Wow, it was everything that I needed, and I feel like it healed a certain piece of me that, like, it's not because it didn't work out in the past that I cannot work out in the future. It sounds so toxic, but like they spent like 10 years not seeing each other and then meeting again. Like, it was so fucking good, and it was so easy to read. Oh my god. And the little plot twist about Atlas' family and like getting to know his backstory even better was like so good. And having also a dual POV, of having some chapters where it's literally Atlas' POV and then Lily's POV, like, this book, I really, 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 really loved it. It's like, it was much more of a feel-good book than, of course, It Ends With Us, and I'm really excited to see if they're also going to adapt the book into a movie, and I'm so excited to see what it will be like, basically. So this is why I rate this book 4 stars out of 5. The last book that I read in 2024 is the memoir of Britney Spears, The Woman in Me. This book, I started to read this book almost by accident because I was at a cafe with my friend Lily, and I was working on a whole other podcast episode, and I don't know why, but Britney Spears just came into my mind, and I was like, let's Google her. And then I remembered that she had a memoir like that got released like a year ago, and I was like, let me just start reading it just to see what's up. And I started, and I couldn't stop. I've never binge read a book that fast. Literally, the day that I started the book was also the day where I ended the book. It was so good, and I felt like the balance between her telling her story but still keeping some things private for herself was perfectly mastered. The tea that she spilled on her ex-relationship with Justin Timberlake, the tea that she spilled on the music industry, that on the entertainment industry overall, was so entertaining, and it made me able to like and have a slight like perception of like all the atrocities that she was going through. Like, it really, some chapters were really, really sad, and it really overall made me have even more empathy towards Britney Spears. and I recommend this book so much. And also, in case you know, it happens where we don't necessarily have the time to read a whole book, I did a YouTube video where I talked about this book in depth, and basically like I put all together like different moments in the book that really impacted me positively and negatively, that you could like listen to it instead if you don't have time to read the book, and it will give you a good overview of what the book is about and all the little tea that she spilled. So if you want to watch this video. And on that note, these were the 5 books that I read in 2024, and let me tell you all the books that I expected myself to be able to read for 2024. I put on my list Normal People by Sally Rooney. This book has been on my list for the longest time ever since basically the show got released, and even more now that Miss Gracie Abrams, I feel like I cannot stop talking about Gracie Abrams. It's like the 4th video in a row where I mention her name, but you know, it just shows how much I love this woman. Even more now that Gracie Abrams is dating Paul Mescal, so I want to know what's up. I also put on my list Down the Drain, which is the memoir by Julia Fox. Really curious of what she has to say. My Life with the Walter Boys. Oh my god, I completely forgot. It's literally like on my shelf. That's the first book that I bought this year with my money. Oh my, and I haven't read it. It's actually, I have a little excuse. It's because I'm waiting for them to announce the release date of season 2 so I can read the book that's about season 1 basically, so I can like put myself back into the story and like kind of remember some details and stuff. I have also the book Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I feel so horrible because it's a book where I told Chloe, I was like, hey, go read this book, like tell me what's up. She read this book, she started to read this book the day after I told her that, and she finished it in 3 days, and she was like, yeah, it's really good, you should read it. Still haven't read it. And it's been a year. I'm sorry, Chloe. There's also Pride and Prejudice. My friend Yasmin bought me this book for my birthday. There's also Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Still haven't read it. I was like, I'm gonna read it at the end of November. It's the end of December, girl, and you still haven't. What are you doing? Also, Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. Still haven't. But 8 books that I haven't read in 2024 that I really do hope, let's finger cross, that I read in 2025. Like, please. So on that note, I hope you like my video. Tell me in the oh my god, please tell me in the comments books that I should absolutely read that are part of your like all-time favorite books. Please, and the ones that you didn't like, because that will save me a lot of time. On that note, I hope you have a beautiful night of sleep. I love you. Take care. Au revoir.